The storm had just passed, leaving the world scraped raw. Dust hung in the air, soft as ash. Near the fence line of the Carter ranch, a woman lay face down in the drift, half buried and broken. Ben Carter saw her first. He slid from the saddle, boots sinking deep into the powdery dirt. Her back was torn open, lashes split her skin like someone had written cruelty with a whip. Dried blood crusted along her spine, grit sealed into every wound. When he lifted her, her dress stuck to her body like paper to a brand. She flinched hard enough to lose her breath. "Please," she whispered, voice cracked. "Don't leave me here." Ben didn't. He wrapped his duster around her, brushed the dust from her face, and gave her water from his canteen. It ran down her chin, mixing mud and blood. Then he saw the tracks, boot prints scattered in the dirt, and 2 long grooves where someone had been dragged. They led back toward town. He looked down at her again. Whoever she was, she'd come through hell and somehow survived it. Without another word, he lifted her onto his horse and carried her home. Inside the cookhouse, he set her near the stove and heated water. The light through the window made gold bars across her skin. He cut her torn dress from the back, careful, apologizing under his breath. The marks told the story: lashes, deep cuts, sand rubbed into open wounds. She didn't cry. She just breathed, shallow and slow. "Name?" he asked softly. She hesitated. "Mara." "Ben Carter," he said. "You're safe now." When he cleaned the deeper welts, she hissed. "Better to curse," he said. "You'll breathe easier." She smiled weakly. "You talk too much." Later, he fed her broth and biscuits, small spoonfuls at a time. When her hands shook, he steadied them. "Who did this?" he asked. "Men from town," she whispered. 3 I knew. 2 I didn't. Said I talked too much. Said I wasn't worth the water I stole from the creek. For a neighbor's baby. Fever. She paused, eyes dull with exhaustion. "They said the water belongs to the judge now. The paper says who drinks and who doesn't." Ben's jaw tightened. The drought had turned greed into law. The so-called water board ran the county now, men with signatures, guns, and no mercy. "They're coming for your water next," Mara said, gripping his sleeve. He looked out the window at his windmill and tank standing against the blue sky. He could stay quiet and safe. Or he could act. He chose the harder path. "How do you know?" he asked. "Because one of them," she said, "wears your brand on his belt for luck." By evening, she slept on clean sheets in the spare room. Ben saddled his horse and followed the trail back toward town. The world had been scoured clean by the storm, you could see forever. The tracks told their own truth: boot prints, drags, cigarette ash where they'd rested. The trail led behind the old slaughter pen. He found rope fibers on a thorn and a piece of split cane like the lash they'd used. He pocketed both. When he reached town, the main street shimmered in heat. Behind Fletcher's Feed and Loan, the drag marks split into 5 sets of prints. Sheriff Tate stepped from the shade. "Ben," he said. "You looking for trouble?" "Or I found it," Ben said. Tate sighed. "You got a good spread. Don't throw it away." Ben's voice hardened. "I got a woman with a back like a map of hell. I got men walking free who did it. Tell me which part you call order." Tate looked away. "Leave it be, Ben." Ben walked past him. "Some things you don't leave." He went to Pearl's saloon, the one place in town still honest enough for a cup of coffee. Smoke twisted with lamplight. Pearl gave him a small nod. He sat in the corner, watching the door. Soon, they came in, Vern Lomax, the ranchless rancher, Ray Finch, clean boots and a dirty heart, Jeb Callis, the man who wore Ben's brand on his belt, and 2 strangers with hard faces. They laughed loud, trying to sound unafraid. Ben set the split cane on his table, stood, and walked over. Vern sneered. "Something on your mind, Carter? You dropped your toy." Ben tossed the cane into Vern's lap. The saloon went quiet. Vern picked it up slowly. "What's that to you?" Ben's eyes were steady. "You lay a whip on a woman and leave her in the dirt, you make it my business." Ray scoffed. "You can't prove a thing." Ben nodded toward Jeb. "He can." Jeb's eyes dropped to the floor. He said nothing. Ben leaned closer. "You think water gives you the right to hurt folks? Tomorrow at noon, meeting house. Bring your judge. Bring your paper. Let's see what law really looks like." He turned and walked out. The next morning, the whole town gathered. The water judge stood there in a starched white vest, his key and papers gleaming like armor. Vern and Ray flanked him. Jeb stayed behind them, pale. Tate lingered near the shade, pretending not to pick sides. Ben set a bucket down between them. "You got papers that say you own thirst," he said. "I got a tank that says I own what rain leaves behind. Let's see who the town stands with." He dipped water from his tank, clear and cold. He handed cups, one to a field hand, one to a child, one to Mara, one to Pearl. Then he offered one to Jeb. Vern's glare said don't. Ray's smirk said you won't. But Jeb took the cup anyway. He drank. The crowd murmured. A man had picked a side. The judge raised his paper. "This man is in violation." "Say that again," facing her, Ben said, pointing to Mara. Mara stepped forward, the blanket slipping off her shoulders, showing her scarred back. The town gasped. Even the judge lost his voice. Ben's tone cut through the silence. "You did this. You call it law. I call it what it is." The sheriff stepped forward. "Vern Lomax. Ray Finch. You'll come with me." Vern spat in the dirt. "You'll hang for this, Carter." Ben didn't move. "Bring rope or bring shame. Either fits." Ray's hand twitched toward his gun. Pearl's scattergun clicked behind him. "Try it," she said. "I dare you." The judge stumbled backward. Tate finally found his courage. "Enough," he shouted. "There'll be court. Real court." And for once, the town didn't argue. The trial came fast. Pearl testified. Mara told her story without tears. Ben placed the split cane and rope fibers on the table. Jeb spoke last. "I helped," he said, voice shaking. "Thought going along was easier than stopping it. I was wrong." The judge tried to raise his paper again, but nobody cared for ink anymore. The town had seen truth written in scars. Pearl nodded toward the judge. "You're done here." Ben picked up the lock that had been on the meeting house spigot. He held it high, along with the judge's key. "This here made it legal," he said. "Let's make it right." He unlocked it and dropped both pieces in the dust. Water poured, steady and free. People filled their cups, their hands, their hats. The creek came alive again, quiet but honest. Vern made one last lunge, still thinking he could own something. Ben turned and hit him once, clean, final. Vern fell. The town exhaled. Later, Mara stood beside Ben at the trough. Her back was bandaged, her face calm. "You did right," she said. "We did," Ben answered. "You think it stays right?" "If we keep choosing it in daylight," he said. Days passed. The men faced real charges. The judge was sent packing. The waterboard papers burned slow behind Pearl's saloon. Tate did his job again. Mara helped Ben mend fence. Her blanket was gone, traded for a work shirt that fit her strength. The scars on her back stopped shouting, they whispered now, softer, steadier. One bright afternoon, she filled a tin cup from the tank and drank slow. "It tastes honest again," she said. Ben smiled. "That's how it ought to." A week later, he saddled his horse. "Just checking fence," he told her. She stood on the porch, watching him ride off. The dust trail stretched behind him, curling like a ribbon someone decided to keep. He rode until he became a small mark against the horizon, swallowed by the light. But her quiet smile said what words didn't need to, this story wasn't ending here.